Lovers Quarrel. It's a long, sustained quarrel.
What's going on, world?
Hey, everybody.
It's your guy, TJ, Mr. New Cool.
And it's your girl, Dani, your ferociously frazzled fossa.
What's a fossa?
Okay, I thought you never asked.
F-A-S-S-A?
F-O-S-S-A. S-S-A.
F-O-S-S-A.
Yes, fossa. The fossa is the largest carnivorous mammal on the island of Madagascar. They can reach nearly 6 feet in length, half of that due to their long tails. They look like a cross between a cat, a dog, and a mongoose. So here's also a picture, and I can post what a fossa is on our page when this episode drops.
It looks like a
cat and a dog, kind of.
Yeah, mixed with kangaroo.
Yeah, well, mongoose I think is another marsupial, so that would make sense that you get like a kangaroo vibe from it too. So yes, I am a ferociously frazzled fossa, and welcome to another episode of Lovers Quarrel. Hopefully you all are doing well and gearing up for the holidays. How are you, my good sir?
I'm good. I'm doing better. I'll say that.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am accomplished a good amount today, gearing up for the holiday, and looking forward to the time off. I think that's pretty much where I'm at. So like, I can't complain. Like, I didn't get everything on my to-do list checked off, but I got a good chunk done, and there's still time to get the rest done. I just have, that little thing called work that's going to be in my in the way, but I can't complain all in all. But like I said, welcome to another episode of Lovers Quarrel. Make sure that you like, share, follow, tag, subscribe, do all of the things that the internet allows you to do in order to spread the word about our show. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram at Lovers Quarrel Show. You email us at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com, and you follow us on Twitter at loversquarrel7. And also know that we're going to still be going live this Tuesday at 7:30 sharp, and where we will engage with you all and talk about whatever's going on, recapping the show, and discussing anything else that pops up between now and then. So join us there. It's always interesting. We have guests on who we shoot the shit with and debate with and all that jazz. And I'll remind you guys again at the end of the episode, but if you want to take a moment and do that right now, go ahead. So yeah, are we ready to jump into the elevator?
Waiting for you.
Okay. Are you going up or are you going down? I'm going up.
I'm gonna go up. I don't want to be negative.
Okay. So I'll let TJ go first. Going up.
So we got our photos, our
Yes.
Christmas photos, and
Yes.
shout out to Dani. She's batting 100 when it comes to ideas. So
Thank you.
they came out really nice. They came out fire. Let me stop being modest. To me, right? They came out fire, and I'm glad that we did it, because now it's something to look forward to. Like, in my head, I'm like, should we start doing it for all the seasons? Like, we got Christmas cards created, so we're going to send out to friends and family, but, just kind of creating our own traditions, our own things, as a family is kind of dope.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't things that I thought of when I was a child. I didn't even think about. Like, I knew I wanted to get married and have kids, because that was just like, that's what's next in life.
Mm-hmm.
But how that marriage and how my kids and my interaction with my kid would be, and how, just stuff like creating traditions, I would have never thought about. I would have never thought about how we can look at these photos 20 years from now and remember where we are, or where we were, So, it's definitely been one of the positives. So
I'm definitely with you on that. Like, there's something that I never did growing up, and it never really occurred to me either. And so I think really it was just kind of the thought about, being home, and then Tatum getting older. So it was like, so it started with the idea about like, let's get some pictures of Tatum off, because, I was just thinking like, let's document her during the holidays or whatever, because she's growing up, and we want to, you know, capture that in those moments. And then TJ, you know, to give credit to him, he was like, well, are we going to be in it? And I was like, well, we can. So then kind of what started as like an idea on a whim turned into like a whole little like photo shoot in our house, and they turned out amazingly. And I'm, you know, excited to do this at least yearly, you know, around the holidays, and send out cards and stuff like that. And then as we like grow our family, we can, you know, that will be updated. TJ already got like what was it, 24 by 36? Is that the size? He already got those printed out in frames so we could have them up around the house. So, you know, and thank you to everyone who liked the pictures, because, you know, that's, you know, really nice feedback. And I'm glad that it worked out, you know, like I you know, I don't have a lot of, like, that's not necessarily like usually my area of idea, where like my area where I come up with ideas in, but I'm kind of glad that I did. And I'm glad that, like, you know, it worked out well, and TJ looked amazing, and we, you know, we all looked amazing, but I'm just really like proud of like how good we look together, you know, we're a good looking family, and that's pretty dope. So I'm going to continue going up on this elevator, and to kind of stay slightly on theme, I'm just, you know, so by the time you guys hear this, it'll be the 21st. So it'll be the Monday before Christmas. And I'm really excited, honestly, to just see Tatum's face on Christmas morning. You know, I spent a good part of today and yesterday, we spent wrapping presents and getting stuff organized and stuff like that, hiding the gifts and, you know, labeling them from, you know, our relatives who sent them, who already mailed them, from us to from Santa. And we, like, it's a lot of work, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I already know, like, Christmas Eve, we're going to have to kind of outlast Tatum, so that way we can make sure that we can bring everything upstairs, because right now everything's hidden in the bedroom. Because the little bit of presents that we did put out already, she almost lost her mind when she found out she couldn't open them yet. So I don't want to tease her anymore. So yeah, like, she's been asking for this Barbie dream house since like her birthday, right, babe? And so now, like, we get to see like what her face looks like when she comes upon her like already built dream house with Barbies in it. And, you know, Christmas, I think, and TJ has definitely touched on this before, like, Christmas kind of as an adult is cool, but it's not as much fun as it is when you're a kid. So the next best thing is when you are a parent and you get to see it through the eyes of your children. And I'm just really, really looking forward to it. And, like, we work hard and we bust our asses and we deal with all the drama and bullshit oftentimes because we're just trying to build a better life for Tatum and for any children that might come from after her. And I really am looking forward to kind of seeing and being in that moment and recording that moment, so that way, you know, we have memories. And this is our first Christmas in our new house. It's a lot of firsts, you know, and even though it's been a crazy year overall, I'm really excited about the idea of like what we can celebrate together and what we can celebrate with her. So that's my elevator. I'm just looking forward to the big day. So with that, we are going to go ahead and jump into our relationship tip of the week. So I'll go first. And my relationship tip for the week, I think is appropriate year round, but maybe especially for the holidays, because the holidays, while they can be an exciting and fun and joyous time, can also be really hard on people who are going through anything. It can run the gamut, especially this year. And my tip for this week is to find out what being there looks like for the people that you care about. And what I mean by that is, you know, we often are put in the position where there's someone that we love or care about that's kind of going through a hard time. And we're doing our best to be there for them, but sometimes how we want to be there for them isn't clicking, isn't resonating, isn't helping. And I think it's kind of similar to like love languages, right? Like, you know, how you show affection, how you receive affection, appreciation. I think it's important that we also know what it means to look like when like somebody's having a hard time, what does it look like to be there for them? Is it letting them talk? Is it you talking to them? Is it helping them kind of escape the drama for a moment? Is it just sitting next to them? Is it physical touch? Because most people are super well-intentioned. And we're trying to do the best we can when somebody's having a hard time, but sometimes it doesn't translate and hit the way we would hope it would, because we're not being there for that person in the way that they need it. So, of course, it comes back down to communication, but now, more than ever, and especially around the holidays, make sure you have those conversations with the people that you care about. If you don't already know how to be there for them, ask them what they need, so that way when the time eventually will come that they need your support because, shit has gone left, that you know how to be there for them in the best and most effective manner. And that is my relationship tip of the week.
Relationship tip, and I think this is just a life tip, right? So show compassion. We are all going through the same thing. We may all have different ways of handling it, but ultimately we need to all understand that we are all going through the same pandemic. Some people's situations is worse than others, but let's show love and compassion. I don't think I had it written down on my phone, so I don't think that I said it before. If I did, then I may have said variances of it.
Probably, maybe, yeah.
I'm just really thinking, right? And it kind of comes from me and Dani was talking the other night, and I've seen online people like tip when you get food or whatever, and I've never liked tipping if I'm picking up food. But then Dani gave me a different insight, like people who make money off of tips. If people aren't tipping, then how do they make money, right? Because they can't service anybody because things are shut down. So it made me kind of say, you got to change your mindset. So, and that's something that's just small, but I'm just thinking like, if everything is good on your side, you may have a friend who everything is bad on their side, right? So you just show compassion to people, just because you were able to boss up during this time, somebody else may have not. They may be
falling on hard times. Yeah.
They may be barely floating, right? So you shouldn't, chastise them or talk down to them or anything like that. I think this is the one time that we should just allow people to be people, because everybody's dealing with this and how people cope with it is different. But the playing field is not the same for everybody.
Absolutely, so. Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. Like I think, and even to maybe add to that, it's like. And now that this is the season of giving, right? This is the season of goodwill towards man, and we know we can definitely like use as much of that as humanly possible, especially this year. But yeah, like with our Uber Eats drivers or our DoorDash or our servers or our people at restaurants, our delivery people, if you can afford it, if it's not going to break your pockets, it may not hurt to tip a little extra or tip more in a situation that you may not have otherwise done so. Because I was one who also didn't often, if I was picking up, if it was carryout, I wouldn't necessarily tip because you weren't really going out of your way. And
listen, when the world comes back to normal, I may not be tipping again.
Well, I understand it. I understand it, but but the point I was making was that business has slowed down for so many of these restaurants.
No, definitely.
And so they're not even getting as many patrons in and all that stuff like that. So it might make sense. I'm going to say if it shifts back a little bit.
Or even if businesses started just adding
gratuity,
like mandatory gratuity. I know people don't like it, but that's the way to make sure that their employees are
taken care of.
Yeah, 100%. And again, me and Dani have done different things. Like starting last year, we would do like pickups for our delivery people. So we like leave
the like snack packs and stuff.
And Dani tips the delivery people as well. So
and the mail lady.
That's why I said delivery people.
I don't.
You separate them?
Well, because there's the mail woman is the mail woman, and then the delivery people are like the FedEx, the UPS, the Amazon. So I only did
they all deliver packages.
Yeah, but whatever.
I got you.
But I just use the UPS guys because they like.
I use that as an example just to say there's ways that you can give back. And one thing this pandemic has showed us is be creative, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you have a rapport with your mail person or whomever, and they mention something that they like, or you notice something, you can get them something that's from the heart, right?
Absolutely.
You know, I also think as people, we got to break, like, financial isn't the only way that you could be supportive.
Yeah.
And some people act like, you know, because I support you financially, or I can give, or throw, a lot of people throw money at things, and sometimes money isn't the answer. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's just, you know.
It's other things. It's like the sentimental things, or the little things that you notice. Yeah. But I definitely think, like, if you can afford to show appreciation to, like, your delivery people, your mail person, your garbage people, because the people, like, these people already have an important job, and already this time of year is, any other year, this time of year is especially hectic. But now, like, this, ever since,
if you could afford designer, if you can afford things for yourself easily, there should be no reason why you can't tip.
Absolutely. So. But what I'm saying too is, now more than ever, these people have helped us survive, right? They've made it possible for us to not have to go out as often. They have been delivering left and right. They are up to their eyeballs. They are working nonstop. And so more than ever, do they deserve additional recognition. And then I also feel like, you know, in part, I've been working from home since March. So I'm here almost all the time. So I see them when they drop the stuff off. You build a rapport with them. And so, you know, the UPS guys, when they dropped off the packages and we gave them their card, you know, Tatum runs to the door and she screams thank you to him. And they're like, you're our favorite stop of the day, and all that stuff like that. Like that, all of that stuff is not lost on us. And so that's just us encouraging you all, if you can afford to do so, if you find it in your heart to do that as well. It's still not too late. There's still a lot of packages going to be coming after Christmas.
Even if it's not your package, if you work somewhere and you have a reception person, or
yes, absolutely,
like, you just got to take care of the people. If there's cleaning you have cleaners who come to your building, custodians. Like, if you know them, you see them when you're leaving the office, they're making sure that your desk is clean. They're making sure that everything is sanitized. Like, it's just the little things that we got to just start doing. Like, as people, we just have to start being nicer and be more compassionate and caring. Again, you don't have to know somebody, and you don't have to invite them over to your house or anything like that. But saying hi goes a long way. Mm-hmm. Just treating people like humans goes a long way.
Goodwill toward man. That's it. That's all it is.
Goodwill towards man.
Good, like.
So he's gonna leave the women out there.
Well, that phrase is kind of all encompassing. It's towards man, like mankind. So that means men and women.
Because you can't spell woman without man. Got you.
I see. We were on such a positive.
That is positive
vibe. There. You know what? Okay. So now.
Y'all need us.
Anywho. Now we are going to move on to our Black History fact. I can go first, or would you like to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. So this person, this is non-negotiable that they are a national treasure. On this day, by the time you guys hear this, December 21st, 1941, Samuel L. Jackson is born. He was born in Washington, D.C., and he was a student of the Morehouse College, and he has been in over 40 movies, including...
Over 40? That's what they said?
Yeah, but it's probably way more than that.
It's got to be over 1,000 movies.
It's not 1,000, but it's definitely over.
Yo, he's played every role.
He's probably been like in
star,
70.
A lead. He's been a co-star.
An extra.
He's been an extra. Yeah,
He's been everything from Star Wars to Marvel to Coming to America. The reference I have here is Long Kiss Goodnight, which actually is a really good movie if you've never seen it. A Time to Kill. He's been in everything. Sam Jackson is a goddamn national treasure. And we celebrate you, Black man, because thank you for being in our lives, in our theaters, in our homes for my entire lifetime, pretty much. And I am glad that he was born, because that is a good ass actor and a funny ass man. So that's my Black History fact. And I do feel like can we be on the same page, national treasure, since you tried to come for Cisco?
Yes, I mean Sam Jackson more because
I'll give you Sam Jackson is more of a national treasure than Cisco. They're both to me, but Samuel Jackson is definitely a national treasure.
I mean Samuel Jackson is probably more well known. Like,
oh, of course, but that's fine. This is my narrative.
You may ask someone who Cisco is, and they'll be like,
I mean, maybe a young person, but outside of Baltimore, because I feel like my students.
Oh, no. If you ask somebody in Baltimore, he's definitely a national treasure for Baltimore.
He's a city treasure. All right, so that's my Black History fact for this week. Is Samuel L. Jackson, December 21st, a good old Sagittarius. It's still Sagittarius season, I think. Yeah. So, and then who's on deck? Capricorns.
So
I don't know too many Caps.
My fact is on December 21st of 1911, Mr. Joshua Josh Gibson was born. He was known as the Black Babe Ruth. He's considered one of the best power hitters and catchers in baseball history. Fun fact about him was that he started in the Negro Baseball League. And the reason why I figured let's talk about that is because the Negro Baseball League has just been, is now being acknowledged by the MLB.
Yes.
So now...
they go down in the history books.
So now those Negro Major League players are now recognized under Major League. So it says about 3,400 players who's now being recognized and their stats are being counted in MLB. So
good.
Just wanted to kind of bring that up and, just to think that, this was in the early, so from 1920 to 1948, we couldn't play with them. Like, Like we had to create our own league. And then it kind of touches back because like my grandfather, he was an avid golfer, but he grew up in this, in that
Jim
time,
Crow.
the Jim Crow time. So he could not play, but he was like really, really good. Like really good.
He could have been a pro. Like a real, like, I don't
he
know.
could have been, yes.
Yeah.
He could have been a pro.
Had
but
blacks
because
been
he
allowed.
was, exactly. So,
That's crazy.
I mean, listen,
I think
seeing stuff like that it hurts me because it just lets me know like how evil this world is. And I mean, we still make a way, but it's just like we shouldn't have to make a way. Like we're like as Black people, we're like the toughest, most resilient, and it's like no matter what, they throw so many curveballs at us. They try to stop us in every other way, and we still find a way to make it work. And it's just like it makes me proud of us, but it's just like.
it's exhausting too.
Yeah, it's just like, how come, like, we are all in the same world. How come other races can't see what
We see.
Yeah, like, I mean, again, some of it is that privilege, because you don't have to deal with the poverty. You don't care, or you don't care about the issues or the unfairness. Like the playing field isn't fair.
Yeah, it's never been level, and that's
we got to be twice as good to be average.
Yep.
And that's frustrating. And as of lately, it's been really bothersome.
Bothersome.
Sorry. For me, like I'm not sure if it's like I'm mad at myself because I'm like, how did I know these things, or if I was just so busy in my own world and. Because everything in my world was okay. It's, what I mean? But now that I'm seeing it and I'm seeing what my daughter's going to be raised into and just everything, it's hard for me. I have my good days. I have my bad days. But lately it's been a lot more bad days. And it could just be because you have nothing else to do but think. Like, unless you're like a lot of other people who's just out there living their life and acting like this COVID thing isn't real. But for those who are trying to, play it safe and take care of their families and worrying about their families, so they're not going out and they're not, enjoying themselves. You have nothing but time to think. That's why, like, with this COVID, back to my tip, like, if you have a friend who's home by themselves, like, you should check on them, FaceTime them, because they may not see anybody or be around anybody like that.
And
it's not as bad as jail, but it's, solitary confinement, you go crazy because you're just by yourself in a cell.
Yeah, it takes a mental toll.
It's the same thing of being locked up in your house all day. Granted, you may have some vices, but shit, in prison, they got vices too. They got cell phones and...
They be on TikTok and everything.
So...
They got... Yeah.
But saying that to say, like, it's just... like to know. And another thing with Black history is like it's so muddy. So like a lot of it, if you don't know, you don't know, or a lot of it is kind of like folks tale. Like you know, they make sure that our history isn't easily found. I feel like it's a lot of like whitewashing and.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's definitely not included into the narrative, into the curriculum oftentimes. So it's like they treat Black history like it's not also American history. And that's the bullshit that we deal with. That you make really good points. Like we just have to, we're such a resilient people, but it really is, it's a beautiful thing to be Black, but it's also an exhausting thing to be Black. And we, as a collective, deserve so much better than what the cards and the hands that we've been dealt. But we still make, we keep making lemonade out of lemons, and these motherfuckers just keep hating on us because we won't go away or we won't go quietly into the night, and we continue to be the culture. Like everything that people want to do is based off of what we do. And, even though sometimes they try to appropriate it, sometimes they try to make it, we're ghetto, we're this or that when we do it, and then it's fashion forward and avant-garde when they do it, we still know the truth.
I mean, it's been like that forever. Like,
yeah.
James Brown couldn't be on the radio. Well, I'm using him as a what's the name, but they used to whitewash our songs. They would take our same exact song, make it a white version, and it skyrockets.
Exactly, because we
weren't allowed. And then when our music was just too good and people wanted the original, then we could play. But even then, when we could play, we had to go through the service door. Like, how crazy is it that people are paying to see you perform?
But you gotta come through
but you still gotta come through
the service entrance,
or the colors only entrance.
Can't swim in the pool. Can't do this. Can't do that. Man, fuck them. But you know what? I think that it's appropriate that we talked about this and the day that this episode is dropping, because we are supposed to get superpowers tomorrow. Have you heard about that?
Yes, for the 21st.
Yes. So this episode drops on 21st, and maybe that will serve as our reparation. So what I didn't put this in the show notes, but I do have a question. A couple of questions actually. What superpower do you hope to get if all Black people get powers tomorrow?
I haven't thought that far.
You haven't thought that far?
No. Okay. Obviously you have. So tell us what
I'm probably leaning towards teleportation, because that way I don't have to drive anywhere. I definitely don't want mind reading. I don't want to know what's going on in people's heads.
I want to control metal.
Magneto. So that already answers the question. Marvel versus DC. Are you going villain? Or are you going hero? Are you going Marvel? Or are you going DC?
I'm going Marvel.
Hero, villain.
Magneto.
Okay. I am going Marvel hero. I also am.
You just said, but you said teleportation.
Yes.
Nightcrawler.
Okay, but or
Storm.
Yes. Because follow me. If you can control the weather, you really can control the world.
If you can control metal, you can control the world.
I can blow you away. That's all. I can just gone.
You're right. You could definitely do that.
I could have a monsoon just come wash you away, because water does not bend to. There's not really like metal in water. So
I can put myself in a metal bunker, and whatever you do, I'll just be safe in my metal. I would be okay.
I could freeze you inside, because
you would have to get me.
Metal is or I can heat you up, because metal is a great conductor of heat. Science teacher hat.
Okay.
And
so why hadn't Storm ever done this?
Because she's Black and they hate on her.
That's not why.
And so
don't tell people that. It's because a lot of what you're thinking, it wouldn't work.
Why would it not work? Is metal not an excellent conductor of heat? So if I wanted to just like have it be like, if I wanted to like gear the heat of the sun towards you, I could just like melt all your metal.
I guess. Listen, I'm not smart enough for this conversation, so you got it.
Okay, so listen, y'all.
And DC doesn't even Superman, that's the only like real powers.
Yeah, so
for DC is just trash. They just have trash writers.
Maybe, yeah.
That's it. Listen, think about it. All the good cartoons have good villains.
Well, see, that is the only thing
That's
where I
the
feel
reason
like
why
DC, I get
Batman has the best villains.
Joker is the
Besides
best.
the Joker.
I mean, he's my
Mr. Freeze.
Joker is my all-time favorite villain.
Poison Ivy. Two-Face. Clayface. Ra's al Ghul.
Okay, all of them very
Scarecrow. The Riddler.
very good villains, but Joker to me is the best of the best.
No, I get that. I'm just saying.
That's all. I don't
That's what
disagree
makes
with
it
you.
great. Superman.
Lex
Lex
Luthor.
Luthor. Bizarro. And a whole bunch of other like aliens and stuff like that. But that's too long and too far. No one cares about that.
Yeah, I like
Flash. Don't know.
Yeah,
They got to borrow
Aquaman.
somebody. Aquaman. I have no idea.
Wonder
Black Manta.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman's trash too.
I don't think she's trash.
I mean, it's cool right now because it's like woman liberation and
that's not why. And she's
Wonder Woman was the first one. I mean, it was okay.
I'm talking about just the character itself.
Okay.
She's
Who's her
pretty dope.
villains? Exactly.
I don't know.
That's the reason why she don't have no cartoon either. You don't have enough villains.
Well,
That's the reason why they had to make Justice League to put everyone together because they know the other ones can't do it by themselves.
okay, but I still want to be a Marvel hero, but my villain of choice is still the Joker. It's I think he's because I feel like the Joker and like Thanos are like the top villains. They're very different, but they're also the same.
For like for people who's really into comics and stuff, they would hate you right now.
Why?
Because there's so many other villains out there. Apocalypse is probably one of the most powerful villains ever. The movie did a terrible job.
Oh, is
with
that from
him.
X-Men?
Yes.
Oh,
they did a terrible job with him.
Okay.
But he's supposed to be like one of the.
They said Steppenwolf was supposed to be like a badass, but they didn't do a good job.
That is.
That was from Justice League, the movie.
Exactly. See, and I'm Batman's my favorite. If it ain't Batman, Justice League. I mean, I went to see it because it had Batman in it. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing.
Are you looking forward to the new Batman with Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had to see George Clooney be Batman. I could see anybody be Batman.
You know what? I didn't love the George Clooney one, but my introduction to Batman was definitely Val Kilmer, and so that was.
I don't remember which Batman he was.
That was when it was
Poison Ivy.
No, that was the one with
That's George Clooney.
His was
And the best Batman
was Michael Keaton. Oh, Christian Bale.
Actually, no, it wasn't. Nah,
Michael Keaton was good.
Michael Keaton and Christian Bale is like right there, like 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
All the other ones I don't remember.
I would probably.
Who was Val Kilmer?
It was with him and Robin, and they came in, and
That was with Poison Ivy.
No, that was no Val Kilmer's was the Riddler and Two-Face. That was him, and that was Seal, baby. If I compare you to a kiss from the rose on the grave.
Honestly,
Ooh,
they released
I
how the story for the Ben Affleck Batman was supposed to be. And that sounded amazing.
And it didn't happen?
No.
Oh. Well, damn.
I mean, a lot of people didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, he was okay. He wasn't terrible.
He was
wasn't
the
the
old
worst.
He was an older Batman. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, let's reconvene Tuesday on our Instagram Live, 7:30. We can all share what powers we have received as a result of reparations through the form of supernatural powers. And now it is time for TJ's word of the week.
I swear to God, I thought you were gonna forget, so that's why I was waiting. Just like
Yo, you about to get me, but you're not.
Fire your ass up real quick.
But you couldn't.
I couldn't. So let me see if I can fire you up with this word. My word of the week is impecunious.
Impecunious?
Impecunious.
Okay.
Make sure.
Impecunious.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Having little or no money.
Impecunious.
Yep.
Impecunious. All right. Impecunious. Impecunious. Impecunious.
You got it.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Yay! I thought you were going to try and play me and be like, you got it wrong. And all that stuff like that. You try to play me sometimes.
No.
Yes.
You got it.
All right. Shout out to me. Woo woo.
So, with these words, man, I really wanted to just get my vocab up. So, I just wanted to just do random stuff just so I can, go out there. But then when Daddy wanted to make it competitive, so now I got to just find like off the wall words that you may never use, which is kind of helpful because now we're just learning new stuff. But, because Dani knows a lot of words. She knows a lot about a lot, She was like a 5th place runner-up for her spelling bee, so.
I was 2nd place.
Oh, okay.
The word was convenience. I never misspelled it ever since then. It was in 8th grade. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So.
2nd place is the same as the 5th place. There's only one winner, so. And now, here goes a message from our sponsor, Gaines Sports Gear.
Hey friend, it's time for you to ditch those workout gloves and get the grip and wrist support you deserve. What do you suggest? You need to get the Gaines Load and Lock grips by Gaines Sports Gear. They are more durable than gloves, have a non-slip grip pad that provides grip support and added wrist support unlike your traditional workout gloves, and will protect your hands from calluses. Do they come in different colors? Not only do they come in different colors, but they are available for men and women. Do yourself a favor, go to GainesSportsGear.com. And remember, a better grip equals a better lift. Embrace the process.
And you too can embrace the process by going to Gaines, that's Gainz, sportsgear.com, and entering the code LOVERS10 to get 10% off your first purchase. And now, back to the show. And we are back. And before we go any further, I do want to highlight that this is going to be our last episode for 2020. The holidays are upon us, Christmas, New Year's, all that jazz. And so TJ and I are going to take time to, spend time with each other, with our family, to relax, relate, rejuvenate, all of that stuff. And of course, we will be back in the top of the new year. And with that said, I thought that, this would be a good time for us to kind of really reflect on our relationship, on ourselves this year. And I encourage you all to do so as well. It's just kind of like as a check-in with each other or with whomever to see like, okay, where did we go right and where did we go wrong this year? So, I think that would be, it's a good way for us to kind of touch base as we move into the new year and move into a new trajectory in our lives, especially because 2020 has been a lot in a lot of ways. So checking in with your partners can't ever really hurt. So we're going to do that. And then there's also another thing I maybe want to touch on as well. Just a few questions. So the first question that we have for our end of year relationship check-in with each other is, what is something I can do more of or less of to make you feel more loved? What is something that I can do more or less of to make you feel more loved? Would you like to go first?
I'm trying to think. I guess maybe be more affectionate.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like more like physical affection?
In nice words, I would say.
Okay. So, in like best case scenario, what would that look like?
When we're in bed, if you come closer, I don't.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And for me, I would say something that you could do more or less of to make you feel more loved, to make me feel more loved. I feel as though maybe you can do a little, sometimes maybe be a little less critical and a little more maybe like excited about things. Like sometimes when I'm like giddy or excited about something, but it's not as interesting to you, then maybe you can, but I don't want you to be phony about it, but just like sometimes like a little bit match my energy a little bit more about those things.
Like when? There was a time that you were and I wasn't.
I mean, I guess it's not one thing specifically, but I think sometimes when I'm talking about something and I'm like maybe I'm like nerding out about something, or maybe I'm just whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, sounds great, good. And I'm just like, sometimes, just be like, oh, babe, that's really cool. I'm glad you like that. I'm glad that I'm glad that's happening for you, or something like that. Cause
I don't know how to do something and not be phony. So, because you said you don't want me to be phony with it. So do you want me to do these things, or do you want me to do these things genuinely? Because if you want me to do it genuinely, I'm not going to do it until it's something that I can truly, whatever. I mean, now I feel like I do it when I'm like joking with you, or I'm acting like, really, girl, like whatever. Like I'm playing with you, but that's my way of playing with you. But I'm, because you kind of do that thing where you'll be like, you want something, and then if I give it to you, now you're like, I don't want it this way, I want it that way, and it's just like you can't have it both ways. So
I understand. I would say, I want it to be genuine. I want it to be sincere, but maybe you could be, instead of you being more excited, maybe you could be like a little less apathetic, if that helps. Like, you don't have to be jumping out the window over it as well, but maybe you can just be a little bit more like, oh, that's cool, babe. I'm glad you like that. Like it doesn't have to be phony, but it could be like a little bit more, like a tiny bit more enthusiasm behind it. So our next question is, what was this year's highest point and lowest point for you?
The highest point would probably be moving into this house. Mm-hmm. You don't realize that you need something until you have it. Mm-hmm. And I think us having this space has definitely allowed our relationship to grow. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a metaphor. Like, in that house, we grew as much as we could in that house. Mm-hmm. And now we're in a bigger house, and now we can grow bigger. I feel like our thoughts are bigger. The things that we want to accomplish is bigger because of the outlook. So the lowest point would probably be, it's going to be cliche, but I'm probably going to say COVID. Like, I haven't been in New York since February. Mm-hmm. So like not seeing my grandparents, my grandmother is getting sick. My grandfather was sick. It's just like, it's a lot of things that I can't even be there to like, just be there. I can't see them, other than through FaceTime or text messages, like, or in phone calls, but it's just like, it's different, and I guess that's the price you pay sometimes when you move out of state. You gotta trade things in, which is why I always never wanted to move like super far, like Cali or somewhere where I can only get there by plane, because then it's like, when you have these situations or whatever, it's like you can't do anything.
You can't just like up and go.
Yeah, like if something happened and I need to go to New York, I can drive there right now. That's not going to be a problem. Yeah. But if it was, if I lived in Cali or in the Midwest somewhere, I would have to get on a plane.
A flight, yeah.
So.
I would say for me this year, the house is definitely up there. I would say my high point for this year is, for what it's worth, it's kind of like, I would say us. Like, we had to adjust and pivot like everybody else did when COVID stopped the world in its tracks. And I feel like it could have been a lot really ugly. It could have been really bad between us, but we ended up really hitting a stride. And even when when we've stumbled or we've had hit obstacles or roadblocks, we've been able to come out the other side of it, like, I think for the better, and I would say for me, the hardest or lowest point for me, maybe a little bit more in the beginning, and it's still like something that sits in the back of my head, but I find it's been a consistent frustration of mine of how like the upheaval that everything that this year has caused to Tatum's life frustrates me. And that's kind of like, as a parent, I know that you can't help what you can't control or whatever, but I've said this before on the show. It's just like, as a parent, like, you feel as though it's your responsibility and it's your job and it's your charge to make a way for your child, right? Like, there's going to be things that you can't protect them from. There's going to be things that you can't control, but there are things that, you know, you are supposed to be able to do that with. And this was not in the scope of things that we could have ever considered when we thought about having a child, when we first had Tatum. And so the abruptness of everything changing and how it impacted her life and feeling kind of helpless about that was kind of something I had a hard time kind of wrapping my head around. I'm going to go and I'm going to jump to, what is your current biggest worry, personally or professionally?
My current biggest worry? I mean, I think personally it's like, because we're in a pandemic, like, I'm working, but it's just like things are not the same. And it's like, my worry is like Tatum, you know, not feeling the love that she deserves because both her parents are home, but we can't really give her attention, and you may be able to give her more attention than I can sometimes. And it's just those things that's kind of hard, because it's just like, you're here, but you're not here, if that makes sense. And, you know, and then, I mean, professionally, it's just like working on the separation and not being on call all the time, and not, you know, it's like setting up those boundaries. I've kind of allowed myself to be super accessible, and even at times where it may not be healthy, yes. I'll say that, right? Because just because you are working at 10 o'clock at night doesn't mean I have to work at 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Now, I want to, that's different. But, you know,
you shouldn't feel like you're obligated to.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, but I mean, that's probably the only thing that I have professionally. Other than that, I mean, whatever the man upstairs wants to happen is going to happen. So I try not to focus on things that I can't control.
Well, for me, my current biggest worries are, personally, I mean, definitely worries still about, like, as things adjust, change, or whatever, like, okay, what is the plan for Tatum once kids start going back to school? What, like, once we really have to start going back into work more often, because I feel like it's kind of an eventual, it's not a matter of if, but just a matter of when. So that's kind of been weighing heavy on my heart, and, you know, making the right decisions. I guess the other thing I'm worried about personally, sometimes I worry about you. For this kind of reasons that mainly kind of because of the professional reasons that you listed. Like, I want you to be, I love that you're driven. I love that you're dedicated, but I also sometimes see how much of a toll it takes on you. And in turn, the toll that sometimes it takes on, like, our household, because when you're stressed out, or if either of us are stressed out, it impacts the other person. And I just want you, I just worry about you, and I just want you to make sure that you find that balance, because I think that's crucial right now. And for me professionally, I worry that sometimes, like, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome with work. Like, it just feels weird, and it just feels like I have things going on, but it, like, maybe, am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? And I was having a conversation with my sister the other day, and it was like, I'm making a decision sometimes where, like, some days I'm all in, I'm knocking shit out, I'm rocking and rolling, I'm like doing rock star shit at work. But then I've, like, completely, like, not paid much attention to Tatum. Then other days, like, one day this week when we had all the snow out here, like, I stopped and, like, I took, like, 90 minutes, and I shoveled and I put down the salt, but then I also took time to like hang out in the snow and play with Tatum because like it's our first snow in our new house, and she wants to go outside and she wants to play, and I'm like, I'm not going to make her wait until after 5 and it's already dark and can't go outside because the day is over. And so did I get as much accomplished that day? No. But, you know, and I have that like tugging guilt there, but then I also am like, I need to do what's best for her. Like I want to make memories. Like I don't want her to always think that like, oh, all mommy and daddy did was work. And, you know, we're
all in a tough situation.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing. If Tatum was 13 years old, shit, if she was 8, I would say it might be a little bit different. 9, like once she's double digits, definitely a little bit different. She may not even wanted to play with you. She'd probably went outside by herself. You know what I mean? Shit, at that age, she could shovel too. So
listen, she was helping this week.
no, she did. But I'm just saying that to say like, and I think that's kind of what has me fucked up with the way the world is, and that's why I say about the compassion thing, right? Because we're all living this pandemic, and how we live it is different. And you know I kind of talked about the people who don't believe that COVID is real or whatever. That is their choice. I'm not even gonna condemn them. You made a face.
I did.
I'm not gonna condemn them because again, if that's how they got to cope with it, that's how they have to cope with it. Now, the only thing I would say to them is that they have to live with whatever happens. They have to live with those consequences. So if you get your grandmother sick and she dies, you got to live with that. If your mother dies, or your father dies, or whatever. And I know that's extreme, but that's how I live.
But that's actually not extreme in this situation.
Well, I mean, again, we're talking about a disease a virus that nobody knows the long-term effects. Nobody knows how this is going to, you know what I mean? Like, it's so many unknowns, but this is the time that everybody wants to become doctors, and they know what's best. And, you know, if you stick your tongue out and put your mask crooked, then you won't catch corona. Or if you go to Atlanta, you won't catch it because no one in Atlanta gets it. Like it's those thinkings, but we still just gotta have to show compassion because again, those people are just living their lives. They're things like, fuck it, I only get one life. If I'm gonna die, I'd rather die with COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're making the face, but we have to be compassionate in everybody's cycles because again, that's how they are able to function.
I understand. I reserve.
And there's no mandates. There's nothing that says that they have to. There's nothing that says that they can't fly. Nothing like that. So technically, they're not doing anything
illegal.
Yeah.
But then what's legally right and wrong, and what's morally right and wrong are two different things.
You're right, but morals don't pay bills, and morals don't make you happy. So.
Well, I'm not condemning anybody that has to go in and go to work.
I'm saying. See, that's where we can differ sometimes, right? Because my thing is, I'm showing compassion to everybody, regardless. I'm gonna show compassion to a murderer. I'm gonna show compassion to.
So you're showing compassion to people who feel like they gotta go clubbing?
I'm just not gonna put my energy to say like, oh, you're such a terrible human being. What if that person partied, been clubbing, don't have COVID, hasn't affected anybody? Then what?
Then it's still selfish because you don't know. It
is selfish. I'm not saying that their actions aren't selfish.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, for me, this is the time that I'm giving. Everyone gets compassion. I just won't be around those people. Like,
I have compassion.
So if you want to go to a club, cool. Just don't come to me. Yeah. Don't reach out to me and be like, hey, can I come over? No. Yeah. Have you? Because I need to know if you've been quarantined. First off, if you've been clubbing, I don't even want you around because I can't trust that you're not gonna do what's right because you're already showing me that you can't do what's right. Mm. But what I am just saying is that we just got to be compassionate. That's it.
I can love you from afar, but I can also like condemn the actions and maybe not the person. But I'm not going to give the same type of grace to somebody who like has to work at a grocery store or has to work at Amazon or has to work at a hospital, places that they have to go into work because that's their livelihood and they are considered have been this whole time been considered essential, and you're not going to get the same level of grace and compassion for me as I give those people as you do because you wanted to go and like do a 2-step in the club because it's your homegirl's birthday or whatever. Like, you're not going to get that level of compassion from me because, and that's the unfair part kind of this whole situation, right? Because it's all a matter of like, it skips people who are living completely recklessly, and then somebody who's doing what they're supposed to do, and then they get sick and whatever. And it's just, we could go on and on about that point, but yeah, I'm not extending the same grace and compassion to people who are trying consistently to be as responsible as they can, versus people who are just like, well, it is what it is. And if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't, because it's not always, that's the problem with this virus, is that it's not just about if I get it, I get it. It's about if I get it and I don't even know I have it, but then I pass it on to somebody else. You may never even know, or you might know. It's about living with those consequences, and we're asking people to think outside of themselves. And that's the problem. The last question I'm going to ask from this list of questions is, when we're thinking about wrapping our year in review and thinking ahead, is what is a goal, hope, or intention that you have for you or for us for next year?
So what goal?
Goal, hope, or intention?
I mean, I just want us to continue growing, seeing those pictures and, hearing people like them and love them. I like the traditions that we're building. I like how we looked, I like the way that we feel, and I just want to continue growing us, our family, and happiness, and just, creating new habits and new traditions. And that's really it. I just want to continue leveling up. Mm-hmm. That's the real thing. Like right now, it's about Tatum and making sure that she's getting what she needs to be the best human being that she can be, and teaching her, how to express herself, and being okay with being wrong, and being okay with being laughed at, because she, if people are laughing with her or laughing or you're smiling at her because she's doing something that's cute, but she takes it like you're laughing at her, so she gets offended and she gets upset. So, that's something that I've never even really thought about, but it's some of those things. Like, I want to make sure that she knows how to use her feelings and how to touch them and utilize them, right? Because she's kind of like our little mutant, We got to teach her how to put these things and how to use her powers to be able to survive. Right? And thrive, yeah. That's my hopes, more smiles. And I hope that next year this time we have a better handle on COVID, so I can travel.
Yeah. I hope we have a better handle on it as well. So personally, it's my goal and hope that that I continue growing in my own journey to like be more assertive and confident and grappling with like my emotions and my sensitivity. It's my goal to like be really intentional about like the communication that I have with people, getting more comfortable having difficult conversations, telling people no, telling people how I feel, because I want to be the best version of myself for me, but I also want to be the best version of myself for you and for Tatum, because like the reference that you made, like with her like getting upset because she thinks people are laughing at her, that has me written all over it. And it proves that sometimes you can't even control the stuff that you inherit. Like it's just in your DNA, but you can work through it and work and get past it and be better at handling it. And I want to be that mother and that woman that Tatum can look to and say, hey, mommy has a lot of feelings. She has a lot of strong feelings. She's very in tune with her emotions, but she has a way of not letting it consume her all the time. And I'm going to, bust my ass to be better so that way she can see it and be better. And I also want to get, my goal and my intentions for next year is also continue and work on saying what I mean and meaning what I say.
That's a very good thing. I'm jumping on that too. You know, I'm living in my truth. That's one thing 2020 has taught me. I'm not gonna be like sugarcoating stuff anymore. Fuck it. We all got feelings, and I'm not gonna worry about other people's feelings just because that's what I've been doing now.
Yeah.
However I feel is what I'm telling people, and if they don't like it, I'm sorry, but
yeah, I gotta stop apologizing for how I feel if I feel differently than other people too, because I do that a lot too. But I don't wanna be like apologetic for, like, I don't wanna be sorry for being sensitive or being emotional. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's easier said than done. I'm having a better weekday or whatever, so I feel it's easier to talk about right now.
That's life though, right? Like life is about learning, right? And a lot of it, at least for me, right? Like, it's uncomfortable to talk to adults sometimes for me. Because my mother raised us to be yes ma'am, yes sir, and always put a hand on people's name. But that, for real, for me, it kind of failed me, right? Because I put a hand on somebody's name, and now I'm in the workforce, and somebody who may be 20 years older than me, we're colleagues. Yeah. But I'm so conditioned that I have to say Miss whatever. They're not calling me Mr. Byerson. They're calling me TJ. So, you know.
It's a dynamic there. Yeah. And it's a difference between like respect versus like you can be respectful, but still be like, we're equals. We're on the same playing field.
Yeah, but you have to teach people that. And that's what I'm saying. It was never taught to me that. So I kind of just started doing it my own way. But like, I would teach Tatum, like, while you're this age, but once you get 18, you don't have to put it, for me. And I mean, we can always talk about that too, but you don't have to put a hand on somebody's name. Yeah. Like, if it's your aunt, yes, or stuff like that. But if it's a woman in the street or a man in the street, however they introduce themselves is how you would
call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I would say for us, like, my whole goals and intentions for us in the new year as like a couple is to continue to like support each other and to really like to hear each other, because sometimes, you know, we hear each other, or we've listened, but we don't really hear each other sometimes, and we're better than we were, but I just hope that we can continue being better at it, because that's how we are going to be able to sustain this relationship. That's how we're going to be able to sustain this marriage. That's how we're going to be able to model for Tatum what it is that healthy relationships look like. And I want us to just be healthier, you know, continue to be healthier, continue to grow. I want to see this podcast continue to grow. I think that you and I are, you know, people have said this to us before, like that we're onto something and that we've got something good going here. And I want to see it kind of like level up in whatever way that looks. You know, I don't know what exactly that looks like, but, you know.
I mean, I think as long as we're more purposeful and, you know, we change the things that we need to change. I mean, again, I love the podcast, because, again, it is a way for us to talk. It's a way for us to kind of go through the tough things. It's a way to kind of just show other couples or people thinking about relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, you can do business with your partner. You can argue with your partner, because, you know, some people act like if you have an argument, it's the end. No, but I mean, again, that could be just based on how you grew up. You know, there's some people who seen their parents argue and then they got a divorce, so they equate the two. Yeah. But, you know, no, people argue. Like, everything that me and Dani do is real. This is really Dani and TJ. And it feels good to be able to be ourselves for the most part. And I think as long as we continue genuinely doing us, we'll be okay. Yeah. Like, we're not trying to be the next whomever, or at least I'm not. No. I'm not. I just want to be able to kind of have these great conversations and meet different people and learn from different people and just be genuine about it, right? You know, a lot of people treat relationships like everybody wants a relationship, but people don't really want a relationship, and that's what I'm coming to. Mm-hmm. People want the glitz and glamour that comes with a relationship, but they don't want what comes with a relationship.
People sometimes want to say that they're in a relationship, but they don't actually want to do the work of being in a relationship.
Yeah, like it's cool to say that you're in a relationship with somebody. It's cool because it just looks good. You're 34 years old. You're a woman. So to say that you're in a relationship with somebody because people are going to ask. And I get it. Mm-hmm. I get it more so because, again, a lot of people ask inappropriate questions, not realizing that their questions are inappropriate. Like, you should never ask a woman when is she going to have kids or why she's married, or you should ask a man that. But people do it because people just think it's okay. But you don't know what that person is going through. You don't know what situations. You don't know any of that. You don't know any of those things. So before you want to ask those questions, you should always say to yourself, do I know this person well enough for me to ask that question?
Yeah. And we all should reevaluate, like, what's our purpose, what's our goal, what's what's the point, why are we here? And we're not here to be somebody's wife or be somebody's husband. Like, that part that comes along with it, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. It shouldn't be the final goal.
Who don't want to be married.
Absolutely. I think it's just it's about self-exploration. I think, it's about figuring out who you are, and it's about doing right by yourself and doing right by others. Like,
honestly, what it really
golden rule shit.
The way I want to raise Tatum is to be a free spirit. Do what you want with but make sure it's calculated, of course. But fuck society norms. That's where I'm at with it. Fuck society norms, because this shit isn't. Someone told us this and we just believed it. It's like a folktale.
It's a construct.
Yeah, but the construct is changing, and we're still the construct probably was when America was being built. Like, this is the things you got to do, but we're not there anymore, and I think that's the difference. Like, we still have laws that are written in 1800s that we're still following.
Yep, and that's. Ultimately, it's like you set parameters because you want to make sure that she's staying safe and being responsible, but you let people figure this themselves out and kind of explore. And that's one thing we want to give her the space to, and we want to give ourselves the space to kind of explore and challenge ideas and ask questions and try new things and, fall down, but get back up and shake it off and try again. And so that's the stuff that we want to do. And that's what I want to continue to do as we progress. And I'm grateful for this platform. I'm in this space to talk with you every week and to hear. Now, we have our Instagram Live, and we can hear from people and get their insights and talk to them. And I just want to continue having the space and grace to grow and to do it in real time sometimes, and sometimes it's painful because like I've said to y'all a few times, a couple of these last few episodes were super awkward and uncomfortable for me, but I think that they ultimately were a good thing because they were part of my own growth and development. But it's sometimes difficult doing that in kind of a public setting. But ultimately, I just want to see us do well and treat people and be treated right by us treating others well and treating them right. Like, it's all it is. It's the golden rule. And that's all I want to continue to do and practice as we move on into the next year, is living in my truth and treating people and myself right. Sound good?
Sounds perfect.
All right, y'all. You know what? I think we're going to wrap it up because I know we didn't quarrel, but we reflected. And that's sometimes we don't always got to fight. Sometimes we got to sit back and we got to reflect. And I encourage, and TJ encourages you all to do the same as you start to wind down this year. It's been a crazy year. This is one for the history books. And so take a step back, think about it, reflect on it, see what it is that you want to do better, what you did well this year, what didn't go well, what you want to do better, what you want to leave behind,
Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that I'm learning. Give yourself grace, right? If you fail today, but then you rock it out tomorrow, that's not a failure, right? And progression should be something that you chase. You shouldn't be chasing to be perfect, because once you're once you hit the 100, you can't go anywhere else. So
yeah, just chase progress.
Everything should be about progress, but face your fears. Do the shit that you want to do. If you don't know how to do it, find someone who can help you. Google it. Shit, if you need to hit me and Dani up, we may not know it, but sometimes you just need someone to talk to. I just think that we just, as people, we gotta be there for each other. We gotta be nicer to people, and we just gotta treat people better. You know, period. That's gonna be my mantra for 2021. Just treat people better, man. Regardless, you know what I mean? Somebody owe you money, you don't gotta fuck with them no more. But if everything else was good, the money's what fucked it up. You can forgive them for the money. You're not getting it back. So now that doesn't mean give them more money. You know what I mean? But don't ruin a relationship over money, because you know money is just paper.
It's the root of all evil.
You know, you have a friend, you have a family that you have a falling out with. Man, make that shit up. You can't get nothing back. So we only get one life, and you know, some of us get it. Some of our lives was in the mud. Some of us was middle class. Some of us was rich. You know what I mean? Like, we all have different walks of lives, and we all have different things. But you can control your life, and that's why it goes back. Like, only you can control the things that you can control. So if you failing in school, you can control that. That's something that you can control. You know, if you're fucking up at work, you can control that because it's you. Now, if something's happening outside of that, you can't focus on that. But we need to focus on the things that we can control, treat people better, and just really like cherish this shit. Because there's people who passed away this year that I'm pretty sure if they can switch roles with you, they'd rather be alive than dead. You know what I mean? They would rather be alive and poor or alive with shit tons of debt, just so that way they can be alive. So I just think that we got to change the way we think. We got to change the way that we do things, and most importantly, just treat people with compassion.
And that is what we call a motherfucking word. All right, folks. Y'all have a blessed and happy and safe and fun and relaxing and rejuvenating holiday and New Year, and love on your loved ones, and, you know, safely do the Zooms, the Skypes, whatever you got to do, to FaceTimes. If you can't be with your loved ones, just do what you must in order to feel as whole as you can this holiday season, y'all. We'll talk more about our year in review. We'll talk about when we on our Instagram live on Tuesday at 7:30. So if you want, you know, come with your questions about us as far as the year in review. We could talk about any and everything, you know, and we can talk about what your, you know, hopes, dreams, aspirations, your highs and lows, and what you're looking forward to for next year. All of that jazz on our Instagram live. So make sure you're there at 7:30 on Tuesday on Instagram at Lovers Quarrel Show, which is our Instagram page. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Lovers Quarrel 7. You email us. It wouldn't be an episode if TJ's phone didn't go off. And email us at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com with your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, headaches, and heartaches. Yeah. So with that being said, I am your girl Dani.
And I'm your guy TJ.
And you know that we fuss.
We fight. But we love.
Bye. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yo, like good shit. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.